Do you know the credit line story?
No, that's what I was going to ask.
Credit line was I needed to buy. I bought my new Santa Cruz Nomad with my credit line. So my line of credit. So credit line.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
Boy, did I love that.
The other day when we were talking to Jim, I was kind of thinking about credit line and what it meant to me. It's always kind of been an important trail in my life, and I was kind of wondering like why that was. I'd just gotten a new trail bike, Blur or something, and it was the first time that I had a capable trail bike. It was when I was sort of discovering trail riding. I used to only have a downhill bike and always just be pushing my downhill bike up to trails, and I got this sick trail bike, and then these sick trails like Credit Line was built, and I just remember it like opening like a whole new world. Do you want to give us just like a brief introduction to who you are, how you got here?
Yeah, sure. I grew up sort of North Vancouver, and at about 20, I took up rock climbing. I was driving up to Squamish, rock climbing. This is way back in the late 70s. I got married, I went overseas for about 10 years, Africa and Central America. We worked in refugee camps. I did development programs in Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, countries at war.
Yeah.
Difficult postings. Interesting time. But when I came back to Canada after 10 years overseas, and you're trying to get a job, and your experience, managing refugee camps, food distributions, didn't really apply to getting a job here. It was slow going, and so what do? Go build trail. And I took up mountain biking at the age of, I guess I was 41. It's an awesome thing to do, build trail in the bush. I don't know if you know the climbing community. Climbers, they put in a climb and they get nothing but complaints. Build a trail and you get nothing but compliments. And I've always been someone who's been into producing things with my hands. It's funny, I mean, every builder does it differently, but you just walk the forest for a while and just start to get a feel for it. And as you build, I typically will be making decisions as I'm going. I'm working on this is definitely going to be part of it, and I know it goes in that direction, and then I will walk 100 feet, come back 100, just keep walking and see where it's going to best flow.
What was the first trail you built? It's got to be like 7 up or 4. Like,
No.
If you build those trails?
Yeah.
Those are,
How
old are those trails?
Those are old.
Yeah.
There's one even older. All of my trails have the naming is sort of fun, and it's a big part of it. It was Midlife Crisis.
Okay.
I was having one. So I was having one about not being really gainfully employed, not making enough money, not supporting my family sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so Midlife was my first trail. It was not a very well-built trail. So it never really eroded because it's on a bit of a rib. So it didn't create a gully. I had to put up some railings because they were sort of exposed switchbacks.
Yeah.
You guys all ridden it? It's the most fun 2 minutes in Squamish.
Oh, that is...
Oh my god. Oh yeah?
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Damn! Holy dude, Jim was way ahead of his time on this trail. Ah! Wow, that...
Oh shit.
Jim!
What did we think of Jim's midlife crisis?
Quite dramatic.
I'm glad he got through it.
Yeah, I'm glad he
Been
overcame
really
it.
upset
Yeah.
building this trail.
Those are some angry corners.
Because this is some whack ass shit. Don't act that, I'm just joking.
But then, as I got older, I started building things that my wife could ride. Man boobs and stuff like that.
Where did that name come from?
Yeah.
That was my wife complaining about mine. So, it happens as you get older.
It's got corners that really test your skill, so you can go slow, but you can also go fast, and there's just some ripping sections, and just built super well and kind of well thought out.
A lot of Jim's trails are trails that make you a better rider. It has simple qualities, but it's not a dumbed down or simplified trail. You're still engaged. It's not like a blue trail where you kind of switch your mind off and like cruise down. You're way more engaged, but it's still like a trail that everyone can ride.
Value added. Like, where does that name come from? And it's back when all the mills were closing here, forestry was in the dumps, and they were always talking about adding value to forestry products. Instead of shipping raw logs to China, let's build furniture. And so building a trail through the forest was my way of adding value to the forest.
I still never made the climb on value added.
The climb?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the only part I can do now, is the climb.
This trail is like 140 dog years old, and I have never made this climb. I'm a really hands-on rider, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah! You know, I always thought that I was a sprinter, not a climber, but 8th time's the charm. Also a hands-on rider. Oh, was that a dab? What do you have to say for yourself, Remi?
I usually make it.
Attempt number 48. Yes, nice. Come. Woo!
Yeah, I got a little squirrely on the crux, but made it happen. Didn't crack under pressure.
You're still very active with building.
Well, I can't because of Section 57. I got busted on Section 57. Terrible scenario. So I was walking out the trail, forestry was coming in, and so I named it Section 57. I had a different name for the trail, but then as a result of that, I called it Section 57 because that's what you need to take out to build a trail. So subsequent to that, I really only build sanctioned trails.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm waiting on an approval on a trail. There's a lot of energy to build trails. That energy needs to be channeled. Trails that are built very quickly. People are hiding in the bush. They're reluctant to use a chainsaw because of the noise. And if you don't use a chainsaw, then you choose the wrong line. I call them COVID loaners. When the process of getting an approval is so slow, it's a big issue right now.
How long would you say it would take to build one of your trails?
They're 1,500 to 2,500 hours.
It's very evident with your trails that are they've stood the test of time as you put the work in to make sure that they last.
Sure. In the old days when we used to go to the Sorka toonies, you know, Claire used to always come in third. Now they're sort of wrapping things up as she gets in. So we just didn't feel that, you know, we could keep up on the Sorka, the toonies and things. Everybody's so strong. We stepped away from that really pushing it side. And touring is just something, we decided to do it for our 30th wedding anniversary. And so we did a big trip from Istanbul to Portugal, 6 months across the north coast of the Mediterranean. It was just a stellar trip. And then when Claire retired, she was 63, and we decided to do South America, from the southern tip to Cartagena in Colombia. A whole different relationship to the country. And I feel that, especially in poorer countries, when you're on a bike, people can relate to you a little bit. They say, oh, you're on a bike? What's poor? They don't realize that we got all sorts of computers and things, and our bikes are $2,000 or whatever. But there's no question, you have a real different relationship to the people along the road. Many memories. And biking will be a part of our lives for many more years, I'm sure.